Hey guys, it's Lindsay Horncole, and I just wanted to share with you another cool watercolor technique using plastic wrap. So I have my trusty cat joining me here today. Sorry if he gets in the way. We're just going raw, unedited here. So we're going to start with a wet and wet technique, which I showed you last time. And this is what it looks like when it's dried. And we want to keep the saran wrap on there until it's completely dry, but here we go. I'll reuse this saran wrap. No, kitty, you stay away. And so wherever you have the saran wrap touching, you're going to get this really kind of, almost looks like melted wax or kind of a crayon sort of effect, where it suctions to the surface of the paper. Okay, so I'll reuse this saran wrap for our demonstration, but this is what that looks like. In the end, and so wherever the channels were, wherever the saran wrap was not touching, it just looks like dried, wet watercolor. So you can have big areas and small areas, depending on how you wrinkle up your paper, I guess. I have a large paintbrush here, the size 12 round. It's a little bit easier to use to paint over a large area. So I'm just going to paint my paper with clean water. Get that all wet. It shouldn't be puddling, but what it should do is allow the paint to move around on the surface of the paper really fluidly. All right, we got Cat here. Mowgli is going to be either spilling our water or not, so just go with it, whatever happens, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to use some strong colors, some contrasting colors. I think I always go for my turquoise first because I love that color. So I'm going to fill my paper with some heavily saturated colors here, some bold colors, so that we can get some great contrast. Contrast means difference, and what I want is a difference of light and dark. I want the saran wrap to have some bold pigment to move around. I don't want it just to be pale. So I've got some Payne's Gray, got some alizarin crimson. These are kind of my go-to palette colors. I may even use maybe some burnt sienna here, just to get it dark. Okay. So this is actually pretty wet because I used my big paintbrush. If I were to pick it up, it would definitely drip. So instead I'll pick up the camera and you can see how wet that is. It's curling and the water is actually spreading out to the edges. So even as I'm sitting here talking, it is moving. So I'm going to try to keep that paper flat. You can watch here. You want the saran wrap to not be doubled over on itself. You do want only one layer, but you don't want it to be flat or else you won't get those stained glass shapes happening. So I'm going to kind of crinkle it up a little bit and then press it on, and everywhere where I press it's going to suction to the surface of the paper. It's going to adhere there, and that's where you're going to get those awesome shapes as it dries. So after it dries, that's when you peel it off like I showed you in the very beginning, and you'll get a really awesome effect. So, and you can even see that bleeding underneath there. That's kind of cool. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I hope that you guys do some really cool stuff on your own when it's abstract and you can do it in the background of things. That's kind of fun. It's kind of hard for me as a traditionalist painter to find some really cool abstract ways to do these. But if you can fit it in, it certainly makes it a little bit more interesting or more exciting, and that's not something you can mimic just with using your paintbrush alone. Okay, have fun and show me what you do.